Alright, so in this video we are going to be making a pie chart in Python Tkinter. As you can see at the top here, we have the label for our pie chart, and in the middle we have the actual pie chart itself, and whenever you move the mouse over one of the pieces of the pie, that piece highlights or turns white. And then over here on the right we have the legend or the key for the pie chart. So these are the things that we're going to be doing today, and let's get started. So this is the starter code that creates and displays the root window for the project while also importing the math module for later use. So the first thing we're going to do is create and display a canvas, which is what we're going to be drawing all of the different pie charts elements onto. So I'm going to go down here and do class pie chart and have it inherit from the canvas class. Define init. Passing self and parent. Then we're going to call super init, and then we're going to pass in parent. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and initialize this pie chart inside of the root class with self dot pie chart is equal to pie chart, and then we're going to pass in the root as its parent itself. Then we're going to display the pie chart with self dot pie chart. Pack. Pass in the fill option and set it equal to both to make sure it fills out the root window. Then we're going to pass in the expand option and set it equal to 1 or true to make sure that it expands with the root window if it expands. Okay. So if you run the code, since we didn't give the canvas a background color, it may appear like there's nothing there, but as long as you don't get any errors, everything is working fine. Okay. Now we're going to add a label to the pie chart canvas. We're going to start off by adding a init items method to the pie chart class. So let's go down here. We define init underscore items self. Then we're going to do self.update. Then we do can underscore width. Self.winfo underscore width is can underscore height is equal to self.winfo underscore height. So we're getting the canvas's width and height. And so the reason why we have to call self.update before getting the width and height is because sometimes the canvas may look like it's the correct size, but it doesn't always return the correct size. So by calling self.update, we're making sure that we're updating the canvas so we always get the correct width and height. Okay. Next, we're going to get the canvas's center with center underscore x is equal to can underscore width divided by 2, and center underscore y is equal to can underscore height divided by 2. Okay. Now we're actually going to create the label. So I'm going to do a comment, and we'll do self.pychart underscore label is equal to label. We're going to pass in self as the parent. We're going to set its text equal to programming language popularity here. Then we're going to set its font. So the first parameter here is the font name, so I'll put Arial. Then the second parameter is the font size, and I'll just do 25 for that. Okay. So now we're actually going to put the label onto the canvas. So we'll do self.create underscore window. And so the first parameter is the label's x position. So we'll do center underscore x. The second parameter is the label's y position. So for that, I'm going to just do 50. And then window is the actual widget that we want to place onto the canvas. So window is equal to self.pychart underscore label. Okay, save that. Now we got to come back to the root class here, and we have to do self.pychart.init underscore items to get the label to show up on the canvas. So we're going to call that, save, and run it. Alright, so as long as everything is looking good, you should see your label somewhere up here or wherever you decided to put it on the canvas. So the next step is to create the arcs that make up the pie chart. So we're going to go right here inside of the pie chart, and we're going to create a dictionary called self.arc underscore data. Okay. So this dictionary stores what each arc represents, how big the arc should be and what color the arc should be. So for our first arc, we're going to do Python, that's what it represents. And then we're going to do a list as its value. So we'll do 40 for, that's how much of the pie chart it should take over. And then I'm just going to give it a color here. So I do hashtag 3572A5, but you can do whatever color you want, okay? And so this is the basic structure of the dictionary. You know, for your key, you're going to place whatever the arc represents here, and then we're going to do a list with how much of the pie the arc should take, and then what color that pie slice should be right here, okay? So I'm gonna just go ahead and add a couple more things here, and I'm gonna skip forward. Okay, so this is what my arc data is looking like now, and so we can go ahead and move on to the next step as long as you have all this filled out. So now we're gonna go down here inside of our init items, and underneath our center underscore y, we're going to do radius. So radius is equal to min, and we're going to choose either the smallest between the canvas underscore width and canvas underscore height. Then we're going to multiply that by 0.25. This is going to determine the size of each of the arcs. So now underneath our label, we're going to do a comment. So we'll do arcs right there. And then we're going to do start equal to 0. Then we're going to iterate through our arc data. So we'll do for key percent color and self dot arc underscore data dot items. We're first one to calculate the extent of the arc. So extent equal to 360 times percent divided by 100. Then we're going to calculate the arc's coordinates. So we do arc underscore x is equal to center underscore x minus radius. Then arc underscore y equal to center underscore y minus radius. Then arc underscore x1 is equal to center underscore x plus radius, and then arc underscore y1 is equal to center underscore y plus radius, okay? So now, using this information, we can actually draw the arc onto the canvas. With this, we will do self dot create underscore arc, and then we're going to pass in these coordinates: arc underscore x, arc underscore y, arc underscore x1, arc underscore y1. Pass in the extent here. Extent is equal to extent. Start is equal to start. Fill is equal to color. And then active fill, this is what causes the arc to change color whenever the mouse is over it. So active fill is equal to white. Okay. And so now we have to increment the start variable that we created up here. So start plus equal extent, actually, okay? So now we're going to save and run that, all right? And so you should have your arcs on the screen, and they should create a complete circle here. And then whenever you move the mouse over each arc, its color should change, okay? So now we're going to add labels on top of the arc. So we're going to start this process underneath the create arc line right here. And so I'm going to add another comment. I'll just do arc label here. And then the first thing we're going to calculate is the mid angle. So we'll do mid underscore angle is equal to math.radians start plus extent divided by 2. Then we're going to set the label's radius with label underscore radius is equal to radius times 0.65. Then we're going to calculate the label's x and y position. So we'll do label underscore x is equal to center underscore x plus label underscore radius times math.cosine. pass in mid underscore angle. Okay. And then for label underscore y, label underscore y is equal to center underscore y minus label underscore radius times math dot sign, and then pass it in mid angle here. Okay. Alright, so now to actually create the text, we do self.create underscore text, pass in label underscore x and label underscore y, and then we want to set text equal to f for format, key, %, okay, and then we want to set its font. So font is equal to Arial for the font, and then 12 for the size. And now we're going to save and run that. Right? And so now we have labels in the middle of our arcs here. Okay? Alrighty, so the last thing we have to do before we complete this project is to create the key that goes on the right side of the pie chart. So again, inside of init items, we're going to get out of our for loop here, and we're going to create a comment. So I'm going to do legend, and then we're going to go ahead and calculate the legend's x and y position. So legend underscore x equal to center underscore x plus 50, and then legend underscore y is equal to center underscore y minus 100. Okay. So now we're going to set the size that we want our boxes to be. So box underscore size is equal to 20. Then we're going to set the gap between the legend boxes. So gap is equal to 10. The font size I'll set equal to 12. Okay. Now we're going to iterate with the for loop again. So we'll do for I, comma, key, %, color, and enumerate self.art underscore data dot items. Okay. And all this enumerate here does is it keeps track of the index while we're iterating with our for loop here. So we're going to do box underscore top is equal to legend underscore y plus I times box underscore size plus gap. Okay. We're going to use this as one of the coordinates when we are actually creating the box rectangles, or the rectangles for the boxes rather. Okay. And so we're going to actually go ahead and use it right now. So we'll do a comment for our box, and then to actually create the box, we have to use the self.create rectangle method. And so for our first XY coordinates, we'll do legend underscore x, comma box top. And then for our second set of XY coordinates, we do legend underscore x plus box size, comma box top plus box size. Okay. Then we'll set the box's color with fill equal to color, and then we'll just set its outline equal to black. Okay. Now for the actual label that goes beside the box, we'll do label self.create underscore text, and then again for the x position, we'll do legend underscore x plus box size plus 10. Alright, then we'll do box top plus box size divided by 2 for its y position. Then we want to set its text, so text equal to f quotations p %. Okay. Then we're going to set its anchor, the text anchor equal to W. And then we're going to set its font again to Arial, and its font size to the font size variable. Okay. Alrighty, so now we're going to save and run that. Oh, so clearly I miscalculated something here because it looks like our legend is correct here, but it's too far over to the left. So let me see how I can fix this real quick. Okay, so in order to fix that little issue I caused, we have to go back up here to our legend_x variable here, and where it says legend_x is equal to center x plus 50, we have to actually do legend_x is equal to center_x plus radius plus 50. So I just forgot to add the radius to the legend_x. Okay. So now if we run it, everything should be in the right place now. So we have our label up here. We have our pie chart, which has highlighting or hover effects right here, and then we have our legend over here to the right of it. So that's pretty much it for this video, and thank you for watching.